Hello and welcome to Shooter Ready, the GBPRA podcast, brought to you by Boscobel Weapon Systems, makers of the Bell Lock Bipod. I'm here today with Simon. Say hello, Simon.
Hello, Simon.
Well done. And I'm Christian. So, Simon, here today for another podcast. This is our opportunity to get one in before the 5th of December, which is our next match.
We need a vote as well on who did best introduction.
Oh, it's definitely mine.
We need. It was a bit scripted. You know, I might stumble a bit, but that's because I'm shooting from the hip. That's what I've learned to do now. You've got to shoot from the hip with this stuff.
I think mine was a bit slicker.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll let the public vote.
Yeah, let the listeners decide. How are you doing?
Good, about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've had an interesting weekend personally. Just been out doing a bit of deer stalking, checking out some new land. It was a good experience. Enjoyed myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. Get moving before the weather changes.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're not here to talk about my shooting exploits. We're here to talk about the GBPRA.
Other people's shooting exploits.
Yeah, other people's shooting exploits, which seems to be where we spend a lot of our time at the moment, isn't it? On other people's enjoyment of precision rifle.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, there's lots to talk about. I mean, we keep a list of things to talk about, and then the list gets so big, we're like, we need to have a podcast. We need to get some of this stuff out there. I mean, the last one we did was with Alex about training. That was fantastic. The first one was the history of the GBPRA in a odd fashion. It needed, that needed to get out. We've got to look at some stuff going forward, haven't we? We've got lots happening. In no particular order, target shooting show we'll talk about. That's going to be great. You've got your banner behind you, especially. Come out well, those, haven't they?
I think they look very good.
Those of you will notice our new variation on the logo, which I really like. It's a long, boring story about why we changed the logo. I won't bore people with it, but it was needed. So, yeah, I think it's come out quite well. Yeah.
Gives me a big job though, doesn't it? Now I'll have the website to update. We'll have everything needs to be rebranded.
That's why I do it, just to consume even more of your time. To be honest,
just because I'm not busy enough as it is.
Yeah, exactly. Target shooting show. Talk about the dates we released in 2022. We've not done that yet. I'll chat about Hungary. Touch on some of the rules. And when I say the rules, we're not going to talk about the rules. We're going to talk about how the rules affect us, what we're doing now. And what we'll do in preparation for Hungary to make sure that we're as close to those rules as possible. If we get time, we'll talk about the forum. I want to try and throw a thing in a bit about the Spotters Academy as well, give a bit of an update on that. But just a bit of a free-for-all tonight, mate. I mean, what do you want to start with? Any preference?
Should we talk about 2022 dates?
Go for it. I mean, fortunately, I've got them all in front of me on the other screen, so I'm at an advantage, unless you've got them in front of you as well.
No, you've got me at a disadvantage.
That's it, mate. That's it. Got you. The dates, I mean, those who, by now everyone knows that Bisley's a venue for the future for us. We start using it in 2022, which is great. Orion is still, for me, the most logical place to run precision rifle competitions of a consistent nature. When we started with Orion, there were no other venues available to us through various reasons, including access and all sorts of stuff. So we know Orion works well. We get lots of good feedback about Orion. I know there's some people that don't like Orion, but you can't please everyone. And typically the people that don't like Orion for reasons other than it is a venue, historical stuff, and I don't know, I've seen people travel the length and breadth of the country to do a couple of hours shooting. So it can't be the distance, certainly because it's far more accessible to Southerners than us Northerners. So all the dates we released for 2022 initially were Orion, or were Orion then. Since then, we've got dates up at Steelgare. We've got dates at Bisley. And we tried to mix it up. What we needed to do was maximise the potential for the year when we're not in a qualification period. Excuse me. And listen to what people wanted. So the weekends, and it's always a weekend. We've had people say, why don't you do it midweek? And then they realise that 95% of people
have got to work.
And they take one of two formats as a rule. An individual event, which will be competitions, which will release more information around New Yearish about what those individual events are going to look like. But there will be individual win on the day, and then a end of season champion and all that sort of stuff. And they're followed by, on the second day, a walkthrough, is what I'm going to call it. A training event, a practice event. This is what people who were shooting in the top half of the scoreboard at events have said that they want. And all we can do is follow what our members want, because that's what we're there for. What are your thoughts on that format, mate? I know we spoke a lot about it when it was in its sort of development.
Yeah, I guess what I'm certainly clear on is that we need to be running training events on a regular basis. Okay, and I think with the PR1, PR2, and PR3 format that we've announced, we're giving people of all skills and abilities a real opportunity to maximise their training time. The question that you're asking me specifically is about running a training and practice day either the day before a match or the day after a match. And our approach has always been in the past to run the training and practice day the day before a match, because that gives new shooters that have never shot a match before or have only just started to shoot matches a real opportunity to come along, get some good practice under the belt, make sure that the rifles, the dope, all their equipment squared away. And then, what they learn and take away from that day, put it immediately into practice while it's still fresh in the memory the day after. And that grows confidence in people. And that really pushes their development forward. You've then got the other camp that says, well, no, what you should be doing is coming along to a match, shooting a match, and then you're going to discover if some things haven't gone so well. What didn't go so well in that match? Was it a particular barricade that you didn't perform very, very well on? Was it your match admin on the day? Whatever it was, you then take that the next day into a training and practice day, and you replicate the conditions as best you can and work through them and figure out, how to put right what went wrong. So that, in my mind, starts to then favour the people that are perhaps maybe a little bit more experienced. Don't need that experience to get to a match and perform to a certain standard in the match, but need the opportunity of a debrief afterwards and a chance to really work on something that's become suddenly apparent to them. And at the GBPRA, we're what? It's not an exact figure, but around the 150 member mark, and we're a broad mix of people that are extremely experienced, other people that are very, very new to the sport. And the challenge that we always faced was how we struck a good balance between people. So I think, my view would still be at this moment within the GBPRA's development, and I mean that in the development of the membership, that really what we need to be favouring are the new to the sport shooters. Mm-hmm. That's where I think.
Yeah, and I think with the PR1, PR2, that's an increased investment there. I mean, on the alternate months when there's a teams event, and we'll talk about teams events later, the training session that follows that will be that more relaxed, open to people training event. I mean, a lot of it is, we've changed something that we've done it a certain way and it's worked. We listened to feedback, we've changed it. This doesn't necessarily have to be the last change we make. There's a reason why we've front-loaded the season with teams events. So when you look at the calendar up until August, when we go to Hungary, the first half of the year, there's only 2 individual competitions. There's 3 in the second half of the year. So if we do those first 2 individual competitions, and we follow the format that the members have asked for, where there's a rolling on walk through the following day, and the uptake isn't as good or the feedback isn't right, then we'll change it. We're fortunate, we don't let people book at events 6 months in advance. You won't be able to get onto you won't be able to book onto an August event until probably June and July. We're not going to open them in January. So
Sorry, go on.
It gives us a chance. It gives us flexibility, doesn't it? We can review it throughout the season. And if we're running a competition, individual competition, realistically, if people start getting upset because we've changed it back in the training days at the beginning and the competition's on the second day, I've been quite outspoken with people. People say, oh, you get an unfair advantage if you can be on the ground the day before a competition. There's lots of ways you can get an unfair advantage, but an unfair advantage is only really applicable if you're looking for it, trying to get it. I know people that have been on ranges before competitions or other venues. It happens. If what we're saying is that individual is being gamey and they're doing a recce of the range, no one shoots the course of fire beforehand. The course of fire isn't even released until that night, or the night before, should I say. And I bet people say, I want to level the playing field. If we're going to talk about leveling the playing field, we were getting lots of people asking us if we could pre-deploy tripods before stages. That's not leveling the playing field, because if you've got a top-end tripod, you're getting an advantage straight away. So we've got to take all these things on and listen to them and see how it goes. And like anything, we can only react to what we're given. So we've changed it. Is that your dog howling or your son?
That is my dog.
Beautiful. He clearly favours the walkthrough after the individual competition.
I think so. Would you just allow me one just quick moment?
I'll keep talking while you've gone.
Keep going, sir.
Those individual events, we've changed it. We've made it so that the trading element is the day after, and we'll see how it goes. But we're not so set in stone that if it doesn't work or we come to a point of reviewing it, it could be the best thing ever. And I've got people whose opinions I value who say it's the way forward. So we'll see. But nothing's set in stone until we open those bookings up. We can still change things. But at the moment, we'll stick to what we've got, and we'll review it in a few months into the season.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting points that you've raised there, and there's something that you've said a couple of times now, and that is the members have asked for it. Not all the members. Moving the training and practice days to after the day of a match was asked for by approximately 50% of the members, and they were typically the more experienced members. The less experienced members, again about 50%, that voted, because we had a poll on the Facebook group, the members' Facebook group, they said leave it as it is. Now, when we say we've listened to the membership, that doesn't mean we've listened to 50% of the members and ignored the other 50% and just swapped it over and thought, let's do it in 2022 differently for that group of members. We haven't done that at all. What we've done is we've introduced through PR1 in particular, but also in PR2, we've introduced a way now for those members, those 50% of members that are new to the sport and need that development prior to shooting a match, or while they're at the start of their journey into precision rifle. We've introduced an opportunity for them to still have that. Yeah. And we'll be doing it, albeit it might be at a different location. Okay. Mm-hmm. It might be the day after a teams match, for example. Mm-hmm. Okay, where they'll then only have to wait a few weeks before the next individual match comes up. But so what we've done is we've listened to the members, those 50% that said change it, and we've responded to that, but we've done it in such a way that doesn't now disadvantage the other 50%.
If anything, you look at our calendar now, and over 50% of the calendar is training. When you introduce Bisley, and we've only announced 2 dates of Bisley, they're going to be those dates. Are going to increase exponentially once we get other instructors coming on, and we hit the ground. So realistically, if I had to sort of have a shot in the dark, 60 to 70% of what we do in terms of events will be training. I think by the end of 2022, I'd like to think that trend will continue. I'll still say we never wanted to run competitions. It was never our bag. We got put in a position where we had no choice. And like I said on previous podcasts, it's not like we can say, well, we've qualified a team for Hungary now, let's just stop. And we'll come back in 2 years, we'll go cold and then we'll start again from scratch. We can't. We've got to keep that consistency until we have a sea change. And there's nothing I'd love more than someone ringing up and saying, do you want us to take those qualification events off your hands? Love it. Have to be on the right venue, right terms, right everything. But this isn't a situation I'm making. So we're listening to people, we're adding things in. Training is my focus. Competitions are going to be great. The team stuff's going to be great, but training is the key. Bringing new shooters in, growing the discipline, growing the sport, whatever we're calling it today.
Let's be honest, Simon, for a moment, and and I guess this is a message that's going out to all of the precision rifle shooters in the UK, because you just mentioned about we get the qualifiers out of the way and then it's job done, great, and we have a year off. And then we're back for the next qualification cycle. We've discussed this, haven't we? If the IPRF, the International Precision Rifle Federation, didn't exist, we'd still keep going with this, wouldn't we? For us, for me and you, this is less about the International Precision Rifle Federation World Championships. This is more about precision rifle domestically and making it the dominant target sport in the UK.
Yeah, and you'll have to forgive me, I default to a flippant position on this because I have actually been asked a question directly to my face. I thought you were only running events till March. I was asked that question. And I pointed out that it isn't that simple. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It'll be fantastic to take a team out to Hungary. There's lots that can happen between now and then, as COVID has shown us. Until we're studying Hungary, nothing's nailed on. Anything can happen. The one quantifiable thing that we can guarantee is that we can run events, and we run good events. We've been thrust into running events at Orion, and we've had to make do with the staff we've got, the volunteers we've got. What's happened in the last 6 months is that volunteers have started to increase in numbers. We've had some fantastic people put their hand up, and as people see at the Target Shooting Show this weekend, there'll be people there that have volunteered their own time, members coming just to get the word out. So it bodes well for the future. We can run more events or run events more efficiently with increasing volunteers. But you're absolutely right. It's no longer about the IPRF. That was the reason for us coming into existence. But very quickly, as we've moved forward, we've seen that there's more to life than that. As great as it will be. You're right. I
mean, we're 100% committed to the IPRF. We're 100% committed to, every 2 years having a World Championships. And we'll support it all, ongoing. But the point is, for me and you, and for others on the exec, and for a lot of people in the sport, domestically, this sport is going to grow. We are going to make it something really special.
And we'll have a podcast just about it. 2-2, where 2-2 is going. It's great to see other people looking at 2-2 precision rifle competitions. The more people out there running 2-2 precision rifle competitions is more avenues into the sport. Matt's doing some great work. Adam's helping him, pulling that together with some affiliate clubs. I think we've got an event coming up soon. I can't remember, but there's an event somewhere. And we'll get Matt on at some point to talk about 2-2.
Yeah.
And they're all things that feed into that domestic picture. But then again, there's a bonus. 2024, there's going to be supposedly there's going to be a 2-2 category discipline event within IPRF world. So yeah, I think we're on the same page with that one. In terms of 2022 dates, we've talked about teams. We're not going to get into teams too much. That's going to be something. The first teams event is in May. The full release about the teams thing is going to be in the new year. People can work out what it is. We're already speaking to a number of teams. I've spoken to quite a few that are keen to get involved with what we're doing. But we need to get a few months further down the road before we can start to release all that stuff. The individual training events that run off the back of the teams events, there'll be a teams event on day one and a training event on the second day. At the moment, it's PR2s. Makes sense. But that can be whatever people want. We've been approached by a couple of outside instructors, nothing to do with the GBPRA, not members, people from the precision rifle world, who are keen to come and add value to what we're doing. And with Bisley, we get another avenue there. I think it's great to be able to talk about Bisley in such a way. Now we've been talking about it behind closed doors.
Exciting, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah. So yeah, lots to look forward to in 2022. But it's a moving feast. We've listened to people. We've tried to cater for everyone. I think we are catering for each of the polarised positions, the new shooters and the experienced shooters, better than we have done. In bringing in training and tweaking the individual competition weekends.
You said it though. We'll know we've got it right if those 50% of members that polled and said, let's have a training and practice day the day after an event, they book on and come along and and they're there.
Yeah.
And those events are full, then we've got it right. If they don't turn up, then so long as the new shooters are going, shooters are still coming, that's great. But we want to make sure that everybody's getting out of this what they're asking for.
And that's the beauty of us having flexibility. I mean, let's not forget, we won't talk about it yet. It's a long way off. It's best part of 12 months away, but we will be. The agreement was we get Hungary out of the way, and then we'll look to have the election for the committee that we always talked about, that we want to either change the direction of the GBPRA or legitimise what we're doing. And at that point, then lots can change. One thing I've seen with a change in committee members is a change in tempo and direction. So at the moment, I think we're doing a good job. Time will tell. Time will tell whether we even put our names forward to still be here after the 12 months will have suffered at the hands of media.
I'll tell you what. I think in 12 months' time, if we've got Hungary out of the way, we've had a successful trip over there. Great Britain have put a good showing. I'll look back on the period very, very proudly of my contribution in that. And if the members decide that they want to change on the executive, I wish the new executive very well. But I'll tell you what, I'll be looking forward to getting a lot more shooting done than what I'm getting done at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be a blessing in disguise.
Ain't that the truth, mate? Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, and my wife will get me back a bit. My wife will see a bit more of me as well.
Oh yeah. Where have you gone?
Have I disappeared?
You disappeared. Your wife?
I'm back.
She's listening. I mean, that's 2022. We're not going to dwell on it all too much. I mean, the other thing that's in 2022 is Hungary, and we'll touch on this briefly and to give people an update. The venue's been agreed in Hungary. It's somewhere random. I could give you the name, but it would mean nothing. It's within the realms of a military base. They're very much leaning towards the military support for precision rifle in that country. Beyond that, not a great deal has been confirmed. The IPRF are going to be inspecting it and doing a report. And the one thing we do know is that the accommodation will be on site. The accommodation will be very reasonably priced. It's not like we're going to be doing it in the middle of a big city and hotels are going to be expensive. It's going to be as cost effective as possible. And what else do we know? We know that we've been asked to send a contingent of ROs, English speaking ROs, as every country has. We know that we're going to be looking now. James is already doing a piece of work looking at the infrastructure for that. Who needs support? Those people that want to go or don't want to go. We're already talking about what the logistics would look like to get a team of 30 people out to Hungary. Because as well as the, whatever that number we argued about last time, 14, 12, 16, 18, 20 people that are going to go out there to shoot, we've got officials to take out. We've got those involved in logistics to take out. We've got a media team to take out because, take this opportunity to say, I've got a very, this is where we embarrass Christian. I've got a very direct bit of feedback the other day about just how good our media's been compared to everyone else around the world. And it's not a competition. But the effort that's been put in by Christian, Luca, Jack, Dean in this last 6 months has been phenomenal. And we need to maintain that all the way up to the IPRF Worlds in Hungary, and then in Hungary, and then beyond. Some of the footage that's out there now, and I was just looking at some stuff that Mark Ferns has done from the October event. Wow.
Yeah.
The quality is just going up and up and up and up and up. And, you know, we're still reacting this year. Next year, people will have a proper run at it and get more drones out. And, you know, we can get more footage of events. It's interesting times. So
just quickly, just very, very quickly on that, Simon. The reason why that's important, the social media side of things, is because it's where people first get introduced to the sport in a lot of instances. It's where people hear about precision rifle. It was how I heard about it in the first instance and became interested in it. So the more material that's of good quality that gets put out there by ourselves, by all other precision rifle organisers, event holders, the more that will contribute to growing participation, to promoting the sport. That's what we say, don't we? Promoting and growing the sport of precision rifle.
Yeah, no, you're right. And if anything, we've had conversations about how we can actually up that media.
Yeah,
product.
We've got plans, haven't we?
Conveyor belt. Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of Hungary, Hungary will be run to IPRF rules regs to the letter. Are we running at the exact parallel to them now in terms of how we run events? No, we're not. We can run events however we want. If we wanted to, we could completely turn on its head. What we need to do is make sure we're not a million miles away from it when we get there. So it would be foolish for us to not follow those rules as closely as possible. We're going to have to polish some rough edges before we get there. So one good example, and I was only talking to some of my IPRF yesterday, how we've had to deal with the lack of clarity around attaching bipods. And I know I've spoken to a few members about this. If the rules say you can attach a bipod permanently, full stop. It doesn't say how you can, how you can't, what you can, what you can't do, what sort of interface you use to attach that bipod. And what we didn't want to do was unnecessarily punish people. So at the stage we had it, we were still running on a draft version of the IPRF rules. They were just in the process of reviewing and renewing. So we worked on them and we had to make a decision. And the rules we've now got weren't actually published until after our first event, which was June or whenever it was. I lose track. So we've done everything we can. What we've got to do is be consistent. You know, the rules that the IPRF might have around tripods could be different to what we're doing. But all we can do is be consistent through qualification. Someone the other week tried to tell me we need to change deployment of tripods. We can't. We can't change deployment of tripods halfway through a qualification period. It's not fair. My job is to try and explain to people that all we need to do is be consistent. At the next qualification period, we may change some of our own rules. We may not. And before we get to Hungary, we're going to sit down, we're going to get everyone that's involved, who's going, make sure they're all following the rules. If we need to tweak any rifles, if it's something that we have to support with because we've made people go down a certain route, we'll support them with that. And we'll make sure that people are going out there, they're not going to get DQ'd straight away because they're not following some of the simple rules. So in terms of rules, you know, the rules are there. You know, I've had a couple of people say to me, I didn't know that, I didn't know this. You know, the IPRF rules are on our website, they're on the IPRF's website. Anyone taking part in one of our competitions should know them. Some of the more important rules are on the actual course of fire. So someone said to me, I didn't know this, and it's at the top of the course of fire. So the onus is on the shooters to make sure they follow the rules. All we will do is make sure that they're enforced as consistently possible. We're human. You know, people have come to us, oh, this happened at that stage, this happened at that stage, and he was in this, he was doing that. The ROs at Orion aren't our ROs. In the fullness of time, Orion have very kindly agreed that we can train some ROs up, which is great for next year. You know, we haven't got the capacity now. So they will be our ROs. When we get to Bidsley, eventually they will be our ROs. And when we come to put an event on, that consistency will increase. But people just need to be realistic and bear with us. We can use any system we want to select people to go to Hungary. We've chosen a level playing field qualification system of individual events and a culmination score at the end. It's as fair as we need it to be, because ultimately all we need to do is just give everyone the same chance throughout the season.
Yeah. Let's be clear. This isn't just our challenge. This is a challenge that the sport of precision rifle faces worldwide in relation to the complexity of the sport and trying to gain that consistency from match to match, event to event, series to series. Mm-hmm. This isn't table tennis. It's not F1. It's not Formula One racing. But then it's not table tennis. But somewhere in between, this is a complex sport with complex equipment often, and it requires a lot of care and attention to how you manage a match, how the rules are applied, and also to the monitoring of adherence to those rules. And you're right, spot on. We've got to be very careful that we make sure that we run a fair and consistent qualification period. And once that's out of the way, we can have a reflect back. And we've got a year then, haven't we, before the next qualification period to ensure that we do the same again. But again, I'll just reiterate, this is a challenge for precision rifle. It's not a simple sport.
And people can go to each of the various competitions up and down the country, the UK, and be facing a different set of rules.
Yeah.
3 consecutive weekends, you can go to 3 different competitions, get 3 different set of rules. The challenge for us is our first individual. So our individual championship, if you will, starts in April. Bookings for that will be in January, February, whenever Christian sees fit to build that buffer in. But by April, we'll have our rules, because these won't be IPRF qualification events. These are our events where we're not looking to follow someone else's. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not going to go a million miles away from the IPRF rules, because I like them. I think they are, on the whole, solid, well thought out, and written by some quite experienced individuals. Or we are our own entity, as Christian said before. We're more than just that qualification vehicle for an international event. But that's why next year is a new year. We've got time to build those things in. So with rules, people need to bear with us. People need to contribute. Please don't criticise something that you're not willing to constructively feedback on. If you think we're doing something wrong, then come to us and say, why don't you do this? I've had some great conversations with people giving some fantastic feedback about stages. I'm not going to embarrass them on here now, but they know who they are. I've had a long conversation with people. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Brilliant. Why don't you do this? Absolutely. And we need the members to steer what these rules look like long term. So that was rules. It's something I've wanted to talk about for a while. Yeah, it is what it is. Just while we're on rules and how events run, just wanted to talk about the Spotters Academy, because there's going to be a podcast about the Spotters Academy further down the road, dedicated purely to that. I just wanted to give people an update on where we are now. We've had some fantastic engagement with the Spotters Academy. Anyone that's shot an event, be it a training event or a competition, has seen them there. They were never intended to be fully functioning paid spotters. If people want to go to events where there are fully functioning paid spotters, they do exist. That's a difficult one for venues to manage unless you've got a pool of volunteers on tap, which we didn't have, and we built that. So we're at a point now where I'm very, very humbled by the amount of people who invested their time. And I've seen some significant skill increase in the time since it's been there. But I think the way that shooters have dealt with it at competitions has been admirable. They've done their own spotting if they need to, which historically is how these events have run. Teams can spot for themselves. It goes back to that honesty and integrity thing. I've yet to come across a situation where someone has made me worry that they're being unprofessional, lacked integrity, or they're being dishonest. If we're going to spot for each other, we're going to score for each other on scorecards as a team, we've got to trust each other. When we start losing trust in individuals, we've got a bigger problem than a structural one. So teams have always been self-sufficient for spotters. The development I'm seeing with the Spotters Academy, though, and some of the individuals who are coming on in confidence and ability is fantastic. What we're also fortunate to have, and he'll forgive me for outing him in public, assuming he actually listens to our podcast. If Richard Hutton listens to this podcast, then I'll be very happy. We've been offered support from all over the place. And for those that don't know Richard, he's one of the most talented, he's certainly one of the most prominent private instructors, firearms instructors, when it comes to precision rifle, distance shooting. Whilst he wouldn't, he isn't a positional shooter in a true sense of precision rifle. He is, in my experience, one of the most well-informed sort of ballistic instructors there is. What he's also very good at is spotting. He has his client next to him, and he has to, by nature, talk them through what's going on. Rich has very kindly offered to put on some training for the spotters. So all those that have enrolled in the Spotters Academy that have been through the process are going to be getting a free session with Richard Hutton, which is phenomenal. I know I've thanked him a million times already, and I'll thank him more. And that's going to be in the spring. If you're interested in the Spotters Academy, get yourself involved. It's a great opportunity to get into the sport. It's a great opportunity to get involved in, become part of the wider community. There are people at events now that are so comfortable who've never shot a precision rifle event. We'll take Andy. We'll embarrass Andy on the spot.
Mr. Cudworth.
He's been brilliant. He's been at every event. He's got involved. He's confident, and he's come on by his own admission. And he's great to be around. He's an infectious character, but he's got a work rate and ethic. They're the people we need to invest in. We're due to see some kids get involved in 2022 in the Spotters Academy, which I think the Spotters Academy is the best way to get into this sport before you pull the trigger, personally. You get out, you get spotting, you understand the dynamic of precision rifle shooting.
It's a skill for when you're on the rifle. When you are in a match, spotting your own misses, your own hits is a skill. And before you've even got your first rifle, you could come along and start learning how to perform in a precision rifle match by learning how to spot.
A very good friend of mine who I did a lot of shooting with when I was younger actually said that spotting isn't a skill, it's an art form. And it absolutely is. I mean, the mechanical function of seeing something, but the ability to understand all those moving parts, wind, all the weather conditions, understanding that you've got someone operating under pressure next to you, to do that well is an art form. And to see people growing into that is fantastic. And what would make sense would be that, we end up with an academy of spotters that's self-sufficient. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Intermittent training and input from people. I mean, those that have been at the academy have been fortunate. They've already had inputs from Josh and Alex and other people. Experienced precision rifle shooters have given them their time. It's been an ad hoc thing. It was always the plan to give them 6 months of bedding in and getting comfortable, because you can be the best spotter in the world if you haven't got the confidence to say to that guy, or in a competition you don't call a miss, but in the competition say to that guy next to you, you missed. Big character, experienced precision rifle shooter. I'm sorry, fella, you missed. Move on. I've seen it done. And without that confidence to be able to challenge stuff, it's not really if you're doing it in a competition, it's not really a job for a wallflower, for a shrinking violet. So I'm impressed, humbled, and grateful for everything that's come from the Spotters Academy. RUAG have been brilliant in supporting it with Meopta. We've had some great discounts with Meopta, and we've already had some members have those scopes. We're now running Meopta spotting scope for events, which is a great bit of kit. And as time goes on, we'll continue to invest in that. And yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on the Spotters Academy are beyond that, but I'm enthused.
Well, it's like I say, I just see it as a way for people that have not yet got their firearms certificate, have not yet started shooting, to come and get into the sport in a meaningful way, both in terms of their entry into the sport and learning skills that will stay with them as they start to compete in matches, but also their contribution to the sport, as we said, for other shooters, supporting other shooters to enjoy the sport. Because although this is an expensive sport, it's not a sport that's flush with money. So you can't afford to have that professional squad of paid ROs or paid spotters or whatever it might be. You are relying on the, I guess, what you'd term the amateur volunteer or amateur poorly paid crowd. So I think the Spotters Academy is a fantastic thing. I echo your applaud for RUAG UK and for Meopta for supporting it. And I think what Richard's doing is just tremendous.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
Richard's been a supporter of what we've done for a while. I speak to him frequently. He's a very wise chap. He knows the broader shooting community as well as anyone. And his words of wisdom have been worth the weight in gold. Certainly, even when we were at times of possible peril, and we were sort of scratching our heads thinking, is this all worth it? Richard was someone that was quite honest and saying, just keep doing what you're doing, which was great to hear. So yeah, Spotters Academy 2022 should be a fantastic year for the Spotters Academy, and the training won't stop there. 2 other individuals I've lined up to do some instruction later in the year. I'm not going to put them on the spot now, but it will be a different angle. The art of spotting is in life, certainly has its origins in a military scenario. That some of the instruction that we give them further down the road will be more military focused from those with a military background. Some of the instruction they get will be from experienced precision rifle spotters. So it's great times ahead for the Spotters Academy. Teams. We're going to have a podcast about teams completely. Do we go into too much detail on this now? I think we park it. We've got events next year.
Teams, I'm so excited about. After that, after match directing that first teams event that we did, albeit not competitive, it was for charity, and we raised some fantastic money for the Royal British Legion. I'm so excited about teams next year. I think it's going to be. Let's save teams for one or two focused podcasts, because there's so much to get into and so much to talk about.
And in fairness, there's people from the teams that have asked to take part, and there are teams that have said, "Can we please be a part of this going forward?" Which is great to see. Who I'm sure would love to come and talk to us about it. So perhaps that's what we do. We get them on all the podcasts.
But the message is now, isn't it? If you like precision rifle and you want to be involved in something that's going to be super exciting going forward and could form a big part of the future of this sport, get a team together. Because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, don't be put off thinking that the only people that can raise a team are a big company. A team can be a group of individuals, as long as I've entered teams into competitions in the past, and the list of rules and regulations were significant. We're not going to be as prescriptive. It's going to be as simple as matching colours. We might have to be prescriptive that at least one of the shooters has a certain calibre. Those who saw the last team's the charity event, we had a dueling tree. Christian and I spoke about dueling tree at the time. It's limited to 6.5 Creedmoor. So there's going to be some stipulations like that, but apart from that, it will be as relaxed as possible. So the reality is, if you're a group of like-minded individuals, you want to form a team, the prices are going to be as low as possible, and come and have a go. It's be great fun. Let's park teams. Let's not do it. I'll put a line through that. We spoke about Target Shooting Show. Did we cover it enough? We didn't really, did we? Do you want to have
we should talk about the Target Shooting Show. It's not far away.
Let's talk about the Target Shooting Show. You talk about Target Shooting Show, because you've got the car keys for that.
Yeah. So, this is something that you're more experienced I'm sure the best person to talk about, because you are more experienced in industry events like this. But no, the Target Shooting Show is at Stoneleigh down in Coventry. It runs on Saturday and Sunday, 20.
Yeah.
What date? 20th and 21st, is it? Saturday and Sunday of November. It's an opportunity for companies that are involved in target shooting industry in the UK, and the sport of target shooting, precision rifle, whatever type of target shooting is going on, to display their wares to the public, to display what they're all about. So we're going to be going along. We've got quite a large stand, I believe. We've got quite a nice space there, and we're going to set up a couple of banners so nobody can miss us. We're going to take a few freebies along if people want to come up to us and say the words "I'm off to Hungary 2022." We'll have a little something for anybody who comes up to the stand and says that phrase to us, because that's quite important to us, of course. And it's going to be a fantastic opportunity to come and learn about the GBPRA, to come and meet some of the squad, not just myself or some of the other exec members that will be there on the Saturday and Sunday, but also to come and talk to members of the GBPRA. Some people that haven't even shot a match yet are going to be coming along and helping out on the stand. You'll be able to talk to them about their aspirations to enter into the support and their journey that they've been on so far.
And the Spotters Academy. There'll be members of the Spotters Academy there who will quite happily tell you what they have taken away from it. And for me, that's how you realise whether it's something you want to do when you speak to someone who wax lyrical about it and confident. Just a quick word for Mike Darby. Mike, who runs Target Shooting Show, is a great chap. I've worked with Mike for a long time, and last time the Target Shooting Show was on my business at a stall out. It's a great show. It's perfectly pitched what we're doing. I think it will be a fantastic thing, and a great opportunity for people to come and see us. Come and see us. We don't bite. Like Christian says, there'll be freebies, and a great opportunity to just talk about what we're doing. But again, thank you, Mike. Mike's been a supporter of what we've done from the outset. Mike's one of those people that, when we first started down the road of the GBPRA, I was speaking to Mike about it, and Mike even then was mega supportive. And without people like Mike in the industry who are willing to embrace new things and help us in any way they can, it'd be a lonely old place. So we're very, very fortunate, and it's a great show. Get yourself along. You'll have a, but bring your FAC, bring your credit card. Don't bring your significant other. Trust me, you're not going to come away with a couple of Enfields if you've got the accountant walking around with you. Trust me, that's the voice of experience.
Very wise. But yeah, if you're interested in learning about precision rifle and the Great Britain Precision Rifle Association and the IPRF, anything to do with precision rifle, just get yourselves along and come over and take up some of our time. Come and have a chat with us.
And there's other. I mean, Andy from PRF is going to be there. Come see them. They're on the Highland Outdoor store with Ryan. Go and see them. I mean, I'm on the hoof now, but Chris from Vortex will be there. Get yourself online, have a look. Some great vendors, some great people to speak to. Great show. If you're at a loose end on Saturday, Sunday, get yourself along. Come say hello. Target Shooting Show. What have you got on your list? I've got one on my list. Have you run out of things yet?
No, I had a couple of things that I just wanted to quickly mention. And the first one was, obviously, as the media officer for the GBPRA, I spend a fair bit of time having a look at what's going on across the world of precision rifle. We've got, what was it at the last count, 26 member nations? We always have a debate over numbers, and it's usually me getting them wrong.
Sounds good. It's 20-something, I know that.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, you keep talking, I'll find out. We don't want to give people the wrong information, do we?
So we've got a number of member nations across the world, and I do enjoy following them and seeing what they're up to. So I just thought I'd do a quick shout out to Justin Lowe of PRS South Africa and the South African Precision Rifle Federation. Justin's just been over to the States to shoot in the PRS finale, putting in a good show over there. And, you know, he was proudly sporting his team jersey, his shooting jersey with the IPRF logo on it. So I just thought I'd say a quick well done from the GBPRA for your endeavours over in America. Well done, sir. And then one of our other sister Federation nations, I guess, is the French Precision Rifle Association, who have just hosted their first Hungary 2022 qualifier. 22, I wasn't far off. So the French Precision Rifle Association have just hosted their first World Championship qualifier, and apparently, judging by the photographs, that was a roaring success. Lots of shooters with big smiles on their faces. So we'd just like to, at the GBPRA, wish the FRPRA, all our best wishes and good luck for the rest of their qualification period.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the international stuff, it segues in quite nicely. We speak to these other nations. We're very fortunate. Philippe from France, we've had some great conversations about how they're doing things, how we're doing things. We're fortunate that the IPRF offers some sort of conduit to have those discussions. I'm in a massive chat group with representatives from all of the IPRF qualification countries, participating countries. And we've made no secret of the fact that we want to work with these people. There's a lot to learn from different countries. You look how long America have been running precision rifle. We're fortunate to have conversations with people like Scott Satley, heavily involved in the IPRF, who has been there and done it on the international scene, and certainly within the very busy domestic calendar they've got in America. Segue nicely into the forum. We'll talk about the forum in more detail, but there's an international room in the forum. For those that haven't been in the forum yet, it was designed to be a safe space for us to talk about the sport that we love, without the fear of Facebook censorship or attack from whatever the new political thing is. In America, it's significant. I've got friends who, having the websites closed down, the Facebook accounts closed down, Instagram tightened up, not because they're putting anything contentious on, but because of how the world is changing. The international room gives us the opportunity to speak to all these people, and we're glad to see that there's individuals that are going to be going into that international room from these different countries who are there to try and offer some perspective on what we're doing. The forum we've got is very clever. It has a different number of languages and translation functions and all that sort of stuff. So certainly before the end of the year, well, by the end of this week, Christian and I are having conversations about adding these people on. You should be able to go in there and link in with these people and ask them questions, how they do certain things. You don't need us to ask Canada. Ryan from Canada, who I've spoken to, great people with their own takes on things. We want to hear these people, and some of them are going to come on podcasts with us in the future. Some people at the moment don't think their English is up to it, but as I've pointed out to them, that their English is better than my attempt at their native tongue. But there's some incredible talent out there from all over the world, and we need to try and make it accessible to you guys. So the international room on the forum is going to be significant. It's an opportunity. It's a place for the IPRF as well. If they want to come and talk to you guys, they can drop in there and ask questions. They've seen how much effort Christian and his team have put in to media. It's been phenomenal. I couldn't do it. It takes a lot of effort. I'm fortunate I can just say some words to Christian, and before I know it, it comes out as a pretty internet blog post, social media post on all these different platforms, and it's great. So there's a lot of hard work goes into that. So yeah, the forum. If you haven't been on the forum, you're missing a trick. There's the obvious things in there. There's discounts in there. Some people go in there for discounts alone. Let's not kid ourselves. Some crackers in there. The thing for the forum for me is, what's great to see is some of the sort of really open, honest conversations that are taking place at a really, really low level. People asking questions that I don't think they'd be confident enough to ask about on Facebook. I don't know what your take is on it, Christian, but it seems a much more safe environment. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I think what you find on Facebook is that there's people. Well, there's a name for them, isn't there? Trolls. There's too many people that are on there for all the wrong reasons, and they're just there to cause trouble, poke fun, upset people, basically. And I think what our forum provides is a vetted list of contributors. It's members only, and all those members have their own point of view. But this is a place where they can all come together and have that open debate, and everybody knows each other. Nobody needs worry that somebody's there with malicious intent, hiding behind, a false Facebook account, for example. We've experienced that, haven't we?
Yeah. And the thing about it is, we opened up the Facebook group, but we're being quite presumptuous to think that everyone's on Facebook. We've lots of members. We've even got committee members who aren't on Facebook. So while some people think it's the centre of the universe, for me, it's not. It's been a great vehicle to get our message out, and we'll continue to use it, but we'll also be very guarded about how much of a vulnerability it is day to day.
I'm a big fan of Facebook. I'm a big fan of Instagram. I like the simplicity of the use of those platforms, and I like the fact that pictures can be a big feature in telling whatever story you want to tell on there. And I'm talking about this from the perspective of the GBPRA as well a personal perspective for my shooting activities. But as you said, that could all disappear in a heartbeat. It could all go. All we would be left with is the forum.
If you get a chance, I mean, I drop on one of the threads on the forum is about the threat from the anti-Second Amendment movement, which is what I've called it for lack of a better thing. We have a left-wing approach or element in this country that's against shooting, but it's nothing like as ferocious as it is in America. And I tend to put on articles in that thread, which are quite interesting reading. But if you want to see just how damaging it can be, look what happened to Mike Glover, from Fieldcraft Survival. Mike's a great guy. He does a lot for good cause. He's ex-military. I think he was a US Marine. And he woke up one day and everything had gone. Someone just decided that his profile didn't suit Facebook terms and conditions. His website went as well, and he had to start from scratch. Tim Kennedy, Tim's a great guy. He does a lot of good for international humanitarian causes. Tim's straight down the middle, and he's starting to see it now. And we're lucky at the moment. We're a little bit firewall from it in the UK, but Facebook is American, always has been, always will be, and it's only a matter of time before they decide that they want to start affecting places other than America. I don't want to sound negative. The reality is the forum's a great place for us to get together. If we're looking to run an event or looking to talk about an event, the best place to do is on Facebook. On the forum, Facebook's awful to find things on. If I put a post on Facebook 3 months ago about a particular rifle chassis, you can struggle to find it. You have to keyword search it. On the forum, you can just scroll down through the threads, and there it is. Keyword search it by title. In terms of a compendium, a place to go and gather information, the forum's great. What the forum also is going to do, along with the photo gallery that Christian set up on the internet, on the website, is the forum will give us an opportunity to archive and signpost the training material going forward. So when Alex and co are doing training courses, the media offshoot that comes out from that, the product, where would you go to get that? Would you go on Facebook? You're not going to fill Facebook with it. That's on the forum. You'll go onto a training thread. Within that training thread, one of them will be tank traps, and there will be X amount of videos about how to run a tank trap. So I'd encourage people that aren't on the forum to get on the forum. If you are not a member of the GBPRA, you can't get onto the forum, but for £24 for everything that you get with that membership, free access to the Spotters Academy, the Facebook group, the deals, discounts. I think my wife pays more than that to get on one of these Quidco discount internet nonsense things, just to be able to get money off groceries. I mean, crikey, one of the customers has just saved £400 on Meopta optics. If that's not worth a £24 investment for a year's membership, I don't know what is. It does go up on 1st of January, by the way, for those that haven't joined that are thinking about it. And even then, 34 or 36 pounds, whatever it is next year, I think it's 36. That's still not bad money. So yeah, get yourself on the forum. It's a great bit of kit, and it's only as good as the product that goes into it. How are we doing time-wise, Christian? I've just looked at my clock. I think we.
You know what? I could talk all night about this stuff. I really enjoy these catch-ups, Simon. It's and I know we're here talking to our listeners. But it also feels a little bit like just catching up with the boys and having a beer and shooting the shit. So I could go all night, but let's not do that. We need to keep it to a reasonable time.
I've gone through everything I had on my list. I mean, we've got Bisley to talk about. Bisley's a thread on its own. Once the dates are out for Bisley, I think they're out already. They should be by the time this goes live. Again, I've not got them to hand, otherwise I feel very ill prepared. What Bisley offers in terms of infrastructure is a meeting itself and is a podcast in itself, and we'll look to get someone from the NRA in to talk about what precision rifle means to them at Bisley, which would be great. I just wanted to touch on one thing very briefly. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of price tables and trophies and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the domestic or the international qualification period, so if you come first at the end of the season, the current qualification period that we've got now, the tail we've got now, and you've come first, whoever that person is, if that person turns around and says, I don't want to go to Hungary, that's their right. We are still going to give trophies out for first, second, third place in every discipline. Discipline's the wrong word I'm looking for, division. So there'll be first, second, third in open, factory, military, law enforcement, and veterans. Is that them all? Ladies, if we get ladies along, that'd be great. Juniors, if we get juniors along. Someone asked me about the logistics of giving trophies at events. Why don't you give trophies at events? What do you give trophies for? Because we're not, you go to some other competitions and it's outright winner on the day. They don't have factory, they don't have open, they don't have military law enforcement. Two people can be slugging it out in the veterans category, for argument's sake. They could come 9th and 11th, 9th and 15th, 1st and 2nd. If we're doing trophies, then they get a trophy just for turning up. And it seems to just be a bit disingenuous, is probably the word I'd use. Also, I said, well, do we give that person a trophy for coming 9th? Congratulations, you're the factory winner, the veteran category winner. And it all got a bit messy, and we sat and worked it out. Someone said, we could give 8 trophies out in one competition. And ultimately, what are we doing? We're looking to qualify people to go to an international event. That's when it matters at the end of the season. But we are going to have a trophy event. We are going to have a dinner and a full-blown trophy event. Where that's going to be, we're not entirely sure yet. We've got 2 venues that we're looking at, and we should be able to announce that. I mean, it's going to be the end of March, once qualification's over, after the March event, he says. So we are listening to your feedback, and price tables is another one. We're not for profit. We're running these events. Officially, we're running these events at a loss. If an event is taken up entirely by members, we lose money as an association. That's the reality of it. If we were to be paying ourselves for our own time, which we're not, we're traveling our own time. So it's where does the members want their money going? Sponsors is another one, and we're not going to have a talk about sponsors. Sponsors is a podcast in itself, a very contentious issue, but unless you prop up an event with heavy sponsorship, then it comes out of your pocket. And when I say your pocket, I'm not looking at Christian, I'm looking at the members out there. You've paid your membership fee to try and help us move the sport forward. It would be quite disrespectful of us to then use that membership money to reward the top 10 shooters top 5 shooters at an event. So we've had to strike that balance. For me, the trophies we've been looking at are beautiful. It'll be a great event. And that's how we've set our stall out. But again, give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Next season will be a different ball game. Individual championship event, we'll do it differently. And we've already had discussions with people about that, how they is. But at the moment, we're running an IPRF qualification event. That's all we're doing. There's no other competition. There's no teams event. There's no 2022 individual GBPRA championship. We're just qualifying. So let's get people qualified. Someone who's shot outside of the top 10 all season could potentially qualify to go to Hungary based on the category they're in. And the danger is we just end up trying to please everyone at an event where the reality is it's just about those points. Get those points, get the points on the board. Come the end of the season, we'll see where everyone is, and then we'll have an event to celebrate the successes of those people. That makes sense, Christian?
I think,
sound right.
You touched on a few things there, prize tables, where the sponsorship money gets spent, trophies and so on. I think for me, they are to some contentious topics. Frankly, we just really haven't had the time to think about it in too much depth, have we? It's like, what have we spent our time doing? Well, we needed to get a website open and get the membership open. We needed to then take over the running of events. We were very, very focused right from the start because we knew we wanted to be on growing the sports, getting new people into shooting. So we focused a lot of our efforts onto training and promoting the sport. When have we ever really had to sit down and had a really in-depth conversation about what we want to do with trophies and a prize table? It just hasn't really featured, has it? We've had other priorities, frankly, and it's a good one for the future, I think, to look at that sort of stuff. But we should do something to mark the end of the qualification period. And I think some sort of an event with a trophy for winners is the right thing to do. Yeah, be a good way to round it off.
I think so. And then we move on into the new events for 2022.
Yeah, and we're still, and I can't remember one member that's come to me and said, Christian, prize table, please. But I have had a few members. Has there been one, has there?
I've had one.
All right, okay. I can't remember one that's spoken to me about it. If I'm forgetting some of the conversation, I apologise, guys. But what I do remember is a few people saying, get rid of that awful refund system.
Yeah.
So, so what have I spent my time on? I've spent my time on we've spent our time, haven't we, on getting rid of the refund system. And when we open up for our next event, it won't be £150 with £20 refunded after the event. It'll be, no, as a member, you get a coupon code and you'll be able to book onto an event for the actual membership price and not have to worry about getting paid back later. We've listened to the members, and those are the sorts of priorities that they've set for us.
And I'm not going to joke, I've sat and done the refunds past those events. It's a thankless task, that.
Yeah.
Mind-numbingly thankless. But it is. We're making it work. 2021, if I had to look back at what we've done, we've achieved some great things, but a lot of it has been making it work.
Yeah.
Learned an awful lot. For 2022, it'll be about polishing some of those procedures, bringing in some new things, and making it work better.
Yeah.
And the booking system is just one such example of that. And like anything, we're open to feedback. If we're doing something a certain way, let us know. We're accessible. Crikey, we're too accessible. All I seem to do is be engaging in various conversations with people about stuff, much to the detriment of everything else I've got to do in the day.
Look, we're not selling anything here. We're not selling anything, but the product that we've got today will not be the same product as what we've got in 12 months' time, 24 months' time, or 36 months' time. It'll keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. I've literally scribbled through everything I had on my piece of paper. Everything's gone. We can very much keep talking all night, but it's going to be to no end. I think we've covered the things we needed to. We really want to talk about the 2022 calendar and how that looks. We need to make sure people know why we're at the Target Shooting Show, and I wanted to talk about rules. just to try and explain to people why we're doing what we're doing, some of the logic. The forum and Spotters Academy are two things I'm very passionate about, for trying to make us as accessible and inclusive as possible to everyone. Again, people say, well, they're not accessible to non-members. People need to, the old adage is, I'm a secretary of a home office shooting club for my sins. I have to keep my members happy. I have to do lots of things to keep them happy. Do I have to keep members of other shooting clubs happy? Do they have to be happy with the way we're running our club? They don't. I'd love them to be, but should I be losing any sleep if they're not? So whilst no one wants to level this playing field more than me, nobody wants to build bridges that have previously been destroyed by poor judgment and agenda. What I don't want to do is pander to the views of those that are outside our association looking in. I want to make sure that our members get our full attention. And if we change the direction, tempo, or flavour of this association, it's because it's what the members want. If people are out there listening to this and say, well, I don't agree with that, well, join. You know, everyone's welcome to join. All that precludes someone from joining is joining them acting like an idiot when you're in. We've a clear code of conduct, and we ask people to respect other people and simple rules of etiquette, Facebook group and otherwise. Come and talk to us, see what we've got. Come to an event, come to Target Shooting Show, have a chat, and help us grow the sport. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
I think we've probably just run over slightly the magic hour, but it's been good, mate. Thanks as always, and to everyone that's out there listening, thanks for bearing with us. We've got a load of podcasts lined up. If there's anything out there you want us to be talking about, let us know. Drop us a line. Anyone you want us to get on, we'll add them to the list. And
yeah,
you know, when shooting quietens down over the winter months, we'll be hopefully getting some more of these done with people from warm countries, so we can sit and look out their windows and see that they're still shooting in January. But it's a small world, so whatever it is you want us to talk about, who you want to talk to, no matter where they are in the world, just tell us, we'll find them, we'll reach out, we'll grab them. Happy?
Excellent. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed this one. It's been a really good get together. I hope our listeners have enjoyed it as well. And you know, just if you're listening out there, be good to one another. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot. Take care.